Canada breaks ground on $70 million military base in Latvia. Canada broke ground on two major military construction projects in Latvia on May 19, laying foundation stones for a rotary-wing helicopter facility at Lielvārde Air Base and accommodation buildings at both Lielvārde and Riga in a combined investment of €64 million, or approximately $70 million. The ceremony marked the latest installment in what has become one of the most sustained Allied infrastructure commitments on NATO's eastern flank, pushing Canada's total military infrastructure investment in Latvia past €315 million, $345 million. The larger of the two new projects, valued at €33 million, $36 million, will build a dedicated rotary wing apron and flight line at Lielvārde, a military airbase located roughly 60 kilometers southeast of Riga. The facility will include hangar space, maintenance infrastructure, and flight line office facilities designed to support Canada's tactical air detachment in Latvia. The operational footprint is specific. The new apron will accommodate up to 6 CH-146 Griffin utility helicopters and 4 CH-147 Chinook heavy-lift helicopters simultaneously, while also providing ground support for loading and unloading of larger aircraft, including the CC-177 Globemaster, Canada's strategic transport jet. That combination of rotary and fixed-wing support infrastructure gives the Canadian force a meaningful increase in its ability to move troops, equipment, and supplies around the battle space without depending on host nation facilities. The CH-146 Griffin, operated by the Royal Canadian Air Force, is a twin-engine utility helicopter used for troop transport, liaison, reconnaissance, and tactical support. It carries up to 8 fully equipped troops and has a range of approximately 700 kilometers. The CH-147F Chinook, Canada's version of the Boeing CH-47F, is the heavy-lift workhorse of the Canadian military, capable of carrying up to 26,000 pounds of cargo as a slung load and transporting up to 55 troops at a time, having permanent purpose-built infrastructure to house and maintain both types at Lielvārde transforms what was previously a rotational deployment arrangement into something with the permanence of a real operational base, a distinction that carries strategic weight well beyond the square footage of the hangar. The second project, at €30 million, $33 million, addresses the less glamorous but equally critical problem of where to put troops. 2 new accommodation buildings will be constructed at Lielvārde, each designed to house 152 soldiers under standard conditions, with the capacity to expand to 304 if the operational situation requires it. A third residential building in Riga is also under construction as part of the same investment tranche. Together, these projects give the Canadian-led NATO multinational brigade in Latvia a significantly larger permanent housing capacity, reducing the reliance on temporary facilities that constrain how long and how effectively a deployed force can sustain operations. Canada serves as the framework nation for the NATO Enhanced Forward Presence Battle Group in Latvia, a role that means it provides the organizational backbone, command structure, and substantial troop contribution around which forces from other allied nations are integrated. The current brigade draws from 14 nations in total, with Canada leading and Latvia, Albania, Czech Republic, Iceland, Italy, Montenegro, North Macedonia, Poland, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, and the United Kingdom contributing forces. Alongside the host nation as framework nation, Canada bears the largest share of the infrastructure burden, and the cumulative €315 million, $345 million in committed investment across the Adatsi, Kerry, and Lielvārde bases reflects how seriously Ottawa has taken that responsibility since NATO's Enhanced Forward Presence missions were established in 2017. The Lielvārde base has been growing in importance as Canada and its allies work to transform what were originally meant as tripwire deterrence forces into genuine combined arms combat brigades capable of conducting sustained operations against a peer adversary. That shift in ambition, which NATO formalized at its 2022 Madrid summit by committing to expanding the battle groups to brigade scale, requires infrastructure that can support sustained presence rather than temporary deployment. Helicopter facilities, maintenance, hangars, and permanent accommodation are exactly the kind of investment that turns a rotation into a garrison, and that distinction matters enormously for both readiness and deterrence signaling. Latvia, a Baltic state of roughly 18 million people that shares a 214-kilometer border with Russia, joined NATO in 2004 and has been acutely aware of the security implications of its geography since Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014 accelerated the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, transformed Latvia's threat calculus entirely, and the country has since increased its own defense spending well above the NATO 2% of GDP threshold, while pushing allies to increase the permanence and combat credibility of the forces stationed on its soil. Canada's infrastructure investment is a direct answer to that push.